everything's fine now. Like, we don't have to worry about it.
Garbage bags and duct tape.
It works. Like, I've seen so many people that are doing that, or like I've seen some people that I don't know, like if they just randomly found it or if they brought it, but like they were taking styrofoam and like putting it at the bottom of their shoes and then like taping around that. I'm like, I don't know what that's actually doing.
Genius. I wish I thought of that.
That's right. Like some people are just like that creativity and that ingenuity, so to speak, like just comes into play anytime, you know, it's like, all right, there's mud, we got to deal with it.
We got to deal with it. We had a great show though, despite, the rain held off, which is great. And we were able to play our show, which I was really worried we wouldn't get to play, and I was like, this is our first Louder Than Live, like I want to be able to play.
Right.
So
it's always interesting, like, when the weather comes into play for festivals like this, I always feel like the crowd is a little more rowdy.
Yes.
Like, I noticed, like, thankfully it isn't raining because like everybody wants a nice day, but because it's muddy and everything, like, do you notice that people are just like, they just lose all control of themselves, all the inhibition just goes away?
They just get excited when bands are playing, and I think that everybody kind of like congregates to the stages that are playing, in between rain showers. So we're so grateful that we got to play today.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about just how you were feeling on stage and how the set went. I caught I think a couple of songs and doing all the bouncing around and everything, but I did want to make sure that I caught some of it. But from your perspective, standing up there, like how did everything feel for your first Louder Than Live?
It was so surreal to be just among people who just appreciate rock music and metal as a whole, and to be amongst like all of these bands. Like I just kept thinking about how crazy the lineup is today, and that we get to be a part of something like this. And a year ago we were playing very, very small clubs around, so it's really cool to be able to be on a stage that so many amazing bands have been a part of. So the whole time I just like, the only word I can think of is just grateful. The whole time I was just like, we get to do this, and I'm going to give it my all today because we're getting the chance to be here. And we're honored.
And it's cool too because like with your sound and so much of the genre blending that you do, like it's cool to see. It's like, all right, well, you have the metal and the rock and everything, but like how does the genre blending that you do really translate to a crowd like this? I mean, obviously the rock aspect of it they're into, but like do you see like kind of a different vibe from the crowd?
So we like to talk about mental health as well in all of the songs, so I really feel like that kind of brings the glue to the whole scenario, because we want to talk about things that are hard to talk about. All of my songs have a mental health aspect to every single one, so when I get on stage it's one of the first things I talk about, because every single song in the set they're going to see that it all is based around mental health. And then I'm like, well, I'm from a small town, and like I struggled with my mental health growing up and still do, so I'm always like, you're not alone, and these are our songs, and we hope you love it. And so it's really cool to be able to blend so many different genres together, to be able to just create art at the end of the day, because I feel like we don't need to stay in a box where it's like, well, it's to this, it's to that. It's like we just want to talk about things that matter. And at the end of the day, sometimes it'll lean a little country, sometimes it'll lean a little metal, rock, and I'm just excited to be in all genres kind of at once.
Well, I mean, there's a benefit to that, being able to reach more people that way with topics that resonate with everyone. So I love that so much of it is mental health focus. That's really been a kind of a forefront topic over the past like 5 to 10 years. So I feel like it's become more acceptable in that time frame for people to be more vulnerable and talk about those things. So I absolutely love that. And like you said, you have pretty much like all of your songs are dealing with it, whether it's 6 Feet Deep or with the new song with Sacrifice. So tell me a little bit about mainly with Sacrifice being the new song and kind of the background and the composition of all of that.
So Sacrifice to me was my first song that I was able to talk about my mental health and be so brutally honest. And there's things that I struggle with that when we were writing the song, I was like, I think we need to say like the control of it all. And obviously with like mental health, like everybody struggles with their own stuff, but like I feel like in a life where you
like the train just keeps on going.
The train is not stopping. We have new music. I'm very excited. I just cut a record. So I'm
Excellent.
very excited to bring everybody on the journey that is to come. You know, Sacrifice was kind of the first one out of the gate. I'm trying to get everybody ready for what's next. And it leans very much heavy rock,
Yeah.
which I'm very excited about. There's a few little tinges of country in it, which excites me as well because we're able to just create this art project. And I'm very excited to share with you.
Yeah, well, that is just that reflection of you as a person, as a songwriter. So it would be, like almost like disingenuous if you didn't
Yes.
have like any of that. So
Absolutely.
I love it, and I do want to ask because we're here in Louisville,
Yes.
the bourbon capital of America.
I love it. I love it.
Are you a big bourbon fan?
I don't drink a lot of hard liquor,
Okay.
but every once in a while I like a little taste.
Okay.
So what should I have? What's your favorite?
For me, I really enjoy everything knob free. Like,
Okay.
They make a lot of good stuff. Evan Williams single barrel is usually a decent one that I go back to. But I mean, like you can't really go wrong with so many of them. But so you were in Nashville for a very, very long time.
Yes.
So
Still am.
Okay.
Still
So
am, yeah.
are you partial to like Tennessee whiskey versus?
I mean, I love Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
You know, it's the staple. I've been to the brewery.
Okay.
And I love it, but like I said, I'm not huge on hard liquor.
Yeah.
And if I have a taste, you know, I can appreciate the